Hello beautiful people, welcome to my first video and more specifically the first episode of Old versus New, where I compare, funnily enough, the old versus the new. Now, DayZ, a game that's a very special place in my heart. Ever since watching that first Frankie on PC video, he's come back by the way Frankie? Probably not, no. I've been hooked.
This is DayZ and I've just spawned in. Electro, funnily enough.
And if that little clip wasn't nostalgic to you, then you've got 67 episodes to watch and I'm very disappointed. I fully blame DayZ for my questionable exam results over the years, and will probably blame it on the bad exam results that I've got coming up. I just can't escape it. Every time we spawn in DayZ, something completely different happens. And my friends and I still talk about some of the moments we've had on DayZ, going back 6 years ago. There was literally nothing else like it. Now, this video is called Old vs New. So let's start with the old, the origin of DayZ, the mod for Arma 2. Back in 2012, Dean Hall released a mod for Arma 2 called DayZ. Within the first 3 months, the amount of people playing the mod had already reached over 1 million people. In fact, most people who bought Arma 2 from 2012 onwards bought it specifically to play the DayZ mod and didn't even touch the original game's content, myself included. Now, why exactly was it so successful? Well, at the time, DayZ mod provided an experience that no other game could. The game had very little restrictions other than needing to maintain thirst and hunger stats, though players had the freedom to play the game however they wanted. The two paths people tended to follow were either being a bandit, essentially shooting everything and everyone on sight, or being a hero, and trying to interact and help people. Now, I think that most people at first thought, yeah, I'm above that bandit business, I'll be a hero. I'll be friendly, I'll help people out. However, within maybe 1, maybe 2 lives, most people scrap that because they realise that 90% of the player base wants your gear, not your help, and shoot you despite your friendly efforts. The original DayZ mod was essentially a normal wasteland server, but with zombies. What kept people playing the game was the mods that were developed on top of the original that Dean Hall released. These mods, such as Overpoch, which came from Overwatch and Epoch put together, added tons of vehicles, weapon spawns, as well as completely new vehicles and weapons. It also added base building, a currency system, and on lots of servers, AI missions to give players something to focus on, other than just fighting each other. The amount of content was endless, and added even more possibilities to what each life would involve. The Arma 2 mods had so much content in fact, that I don't think, DayZ standalone is maybe only getting close to reaching that same level now, but I'm not sure it ever will. On that note, let's talk about the DayZ standalone game. After realising the popularity of his mod in August 2012, Dean Hall and the company responsible for Arma 2, Bohemia Interactive, announced that they'd be working together to develop a standalone game, and Dean Hall stated that he planned for an initial release in November of that same year. Now, if you know anything about the development of this game, then you're probably sat there chuckling to yourself. And if you don't, you're about to find out why. The game ended up missing this release date, and 2 months later in January 2013, Dean Hall said that the release date had been missed because the team had the chance to redevelop the engine to make the game everyone was dreaming of, as opposed to just fine-tuning the mod. Fast forward to June 2013, Dean Hall gave another update saying that the alpha was on its way and the beta should follow the year after. Whatever you say, Dean. In December 2013, the much anticipated alpha was finally released, selling 1 million copies in 4 weeks, and being a fan of the mod, I bought it right away. I couldn't wait to experience what they've been working on over the last year. The question was, after playing it, was what had they been working on? The FPS you got whilst playing was horrendous. You had to dislocate both of your shoulders to hold an axe, and died every time you tried to climb up or down a ladder. The best way to describe it would be a nightmare, but in stop motion. On the bright side, the dev team, minus Dean Hall, who at this point had left the project to focus on his own studio, got to work on a new engine that could fully support what they wanted to do with the game. This did, however, end up taking 4 years. Yeah, 4 years we endured the stop motion nightmare. And in those 4 years, every so-called fix implemented into the game did nothing more than break it even more. So when the new engine was finally released, we were praying for DayZ to finally be what we always wanted. This new engine, along with this 0.63 update, was finally released in June 2018, and the game officially went into beta. Now, for those of you who weren't chuckling earlier, do you understand now? Remember me telling you that Dean said 1 year after alpha release the game would go into beta? That was in 2013. DayZ Standalone didn't go into beta until June 2018. Now the next question, was it worth the wait? Game performance was much better for the most part. You could leave your shoulders in place when holding an axe, and generally you could trust the ladders not to hurt you. This isn't to say the game didn't still have a whole host of issues, such as players swimming into the sky and arms growing at alarming rates. Throughout its development life, DayZ had added more and more features such as cars and more weapons, but it still never got close to the mod. Next in the timeline comes December the 13th of 2018, the full release of DayZ Standalone. No more alpha, no more beta, finally a finished game. Again, some of you are probably laughing to yourself, and some are probably crying at this point. When DayZ's 1.0 was released, it had less content than it did back in alpha. Less weapons, no vehicles, it was really strange. Surely if the dev team had taken this long to release it, they might as well have waited another few months and actually have all the features promised. Fast forward to today, and the standalone has improved hugely, with more content being added back into the game over time, even finally adding the highly anticipated base building, and vehicles are even working well.
To the northeast, yeah.
Oh! No!
Get away, get away!
Get away from me! I'm not! Get away from me though! Oh wait!
You have to get out, you have to get out. You have to get out of the car! Get out of the car! You have to get out of the car!
I'm fucking dead! I'm fucking dead!
In my opinion, the best thing the devs have done is start to allow modders to have the go. As you've seen in the background of this video, I've been playing on a modded server, albeit a deathmatch server where you spawn with gear in Cherno. But usually, I'll play on a popular modded server such as the Nest or maybe Endzone. These servers, as well as many others, have everything you could ask for. Loads of weapons, currency systems, they've improved on the base building of the vanilla game. It almost feels like it's finally got back to where the mod was. And hey, it only took 6 years. What's my verdict then? What is better? Old versus new, mod versus standalone. For a very long time, I didn't think the standalone would reach the levels of the mod. But now it's being opened up to the modding community, it's finally becoming the game we all wanted it to be. Now we just need those 1 million people who bought the alpha to come crawling back and DayZ will be flying. That's it from me guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you think the standalone is finally living up to its promises, and if it's even close to being as good as the mod. And let me know what you want to see in the next episode of Old vs New. Also be kind, because this is the first video I have done and it's a bit strange talking to a screen, so bear with me on that one. And if you're new, which obviously everyone is, so you haven't got an excuse, then please subscribe and I will see you in the next one.